Um,
Hello, I'm Eagle Gardens 1 on Instagram, and this is fucking talking shit with Eagle, episode 560. Thank you guys for joining us tonight. We've got a fun episode tonight. We'll be talking Thank goodness you're still here. Accidentally hit the button, the wrong button. I have what a not a very good start to this episode. Well, I have Miss Vicious here with me tonight. Of course, she does psychedelic mushroom or edibles, right? Uh you want to tell us how you're doing and where we can find you to this rough start of this hopefully great episode.
Hi, thanks for having me on, honestly. So I do psilocybin-based products. Um, these are microdose products, a lot of them. Um, so basically for anxiety and depression. So I've been made for almost daily use. Microdosing schedule is a weekly thing. So the doses are low. They're not for smoking. Most of the time it's up to sexual amount. So it's not like anything intense or significant. It's for anxiety. And that's why I started creating them. It's for my own anxiety, my own depression that I was dealing with. So I started doing this in like 2018, cultivating, growing, and just getting the message out about what psychedelics can do and the benefits that I got from them and using them in my family setting. And yeah, that's
I'm
how I
having
got
a little bit of trouble hearing you there. Sorry, can we try like fixing the mic a little bit if at all
me.
possible? Yeah.
Um,
So there for a second you got nice and clear.
there's that better.
That's a little bit better. I'll take that.
And
So I guess when exactly did you get started with your psychedelic experience, your psychedelic journey?
you like want the whole story, like how I got here. Okay, so I had my first daughter in 2017, and I had really bad postpartum depression from it. Um, so I went to my doctor. I got the typical Celexa, Xanax, Lexapro prescriptions that they were trying I made, and basically they just told me, well, if this doesn't work, we'll try this amount. If this doesn't work, we'll try this other thing. If that doesn't work, we'll try this. So I'm like going through all these medicines and nothing is working. It still wasn't working. It's like it wasn't helping the depression. It wasn't helping the anxiety episodes. I didn't leave my house for like 6 months after I gave birth to my daughter. Um, so yeah, the medicine wasn't working. I got introduced to suicide mushrooms by way of my husband, actually. It's just like, try this, since we're doing all this other stuff, let's just try it. So I did. I started trying it and microdosing myself out and doing trips and I kind of use my Instagram page to show people me microdosing with like my family and going to like the water park on a trip or microdosing. Um, with my kids and my husband, my mom, like whoever, whatever. I'm just showing that this could be used in a moderated amount. Um,
They're still saying they're having a hard time hearing you. Can we try to maybe lose the headphones or try a different mic. I would just want to make sure they can hear you.
My headphones are just headphones. They're not like, maybe
I
it's
don't
my.
know. When you touch them, they can like you can hear, but you sound a little bit muffled when you speak.
Muffled. Okay. Hold on a second.
Yeah. Thank you for being a sport. Thank you guys for tuning in. I can't believe I started it off with such a rough start tonight. I accidentally hit the wrong button when it comes on. It says you are being recorded. But this should be a good episode. Microdosing, as we all know, has huge benefits, and I'm very much looking forward.
Is this better? I like took my phone case off of the bottom, so I hope like the mic is better. Is this better?
It's a little bit. I think it's trying to use the mic on your headphones is what I think it's trying to do. So you say something? Say something. Say something.
Okay.
I can hear you perfect.
How's that? Was that better?
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Now I can. Okay.
So, all right. Would you want to possibly repeat so we can start one more time?
We're gonna start this whole episode over. Let's pretend like this is the beginning. So yeah, I'm Mrs. Vicious. I do psilocybin-based products. I'm based out of the Detroit area. I cultivate and grow my mushrooms. I was in the Michigan Psilocybin Cup this year, and I won first place for the microdose category. I also participated in the first Psilocybin Cup in Oakland back in April, and I came in 15th. And that was a bigger scale, and I'm really proud of that. And I've been microdosing since 2018, and my whole platform is based on educating people on the benefits of using psilocybin. And I use it in a family setting. And I love it. Microdosing for me, I use it for anxiety and depression. And that's how I got here. Like I was saying, I had a child in 2017, and I had really bad postpartum. I didn't leave my house for like 6 months. I don't know if you heard that part. Got introduced to psilocybin mushrooms, started microdosing myself out, and eventually started cultivating. Cultivated, one of my teachers was Baba Kalindi. I don't know if you're familiar with who he is. He is a great psychedelic teacher from the Detroit area here. He passed away last year, but I learned a lot of my cultivating skills from him and how to keep it simple and keep it just easy for the common person to learn how to do this, because everybody can learn how to do this. To me, it's like a skill. You'll just learn it, just like you learn how to grow cannabis. You start to research and you learn what's good and what's bad, and it takes time, and that's all. That's all it is. And yeah, I make teas, gummies, chocolates, silly waters. I have some new stuff coming out in February, which I can't reveal to you guys yet, but that'll be coming out soon. And yeah.
Well, I'm glad you were able to repeat that, because we heard it nice and clear this time. First and foremost, congratulations on the wins. Secondly, sorry for the loss of your teacher / mentor and the mushroom journey there. That's always a saddening experience. And I guess congratulations on finding microdosing as a medicine, I guess, because it is very healing. A lot of people do find uh, uh, the healing power in the mushroom, and I'm glad it's being pushed to the forefront instead of a lot of these pharmaceutical medicines. So I appreciate what you're doing. Uh, and cultivation, I don't know about it's easy. It may be. It's definitely a cleanly grow. That's for sure. You in the psilocybin, from what I've been told. Uh, so
I think it's pretty easy. I think it's a system. And once you learn the system and a procedure, just like anything else, I think that most people will get it. And that's part, I do teach classes as well, cultivating, starting at a smaller scale and then working your way up to bigger bulk. But I think anybody could grow a cake. Like anybody could sit there and water cake and grow it. It's not rocket science. This is nature, and we all have access to it. And that's part of why I exist, is helping people get access to this medicine and learn how to use it for their own benefit. And no, not everybody is going to grow a huge bulk, tub. But if people learn how to grow a little cake for themselves so they could satisfy their own needs, that's cool too. Like, because that's what we're doing it for, right? Our own personal benefit. I also work with Decrum Nature. I founded Decrum Nature Hazel Park. We're working on decriminalizing mushrooms there as well for personal use. And that's why it's important to learn how to cultivate, because sales is not going to be ever really decriminalized right now at this time anyway. So learning how to grow your own and growing a simple cake, that's going to be awesome for a lot of people. That's going to be life-changing for a lot of people. And yeah, as long as there's education and support, and just keep it simple. You don't need a $5,000 flow hood to grow this medicine. Cleanliness is definitely key, but you don't need, I mean, I grew out of a shoebox for years. That's what I produced my winning cup mushrooms with, out of a shoebox. So it's not like it's, better equipment equals better mushrooms. That's not true.
so it's good to know. Good to know and encouraging. So
Yeah.
what was the first initial type of mushroom that you started on? And I guess what was the draw to microdosing versus all the other possibilities to help you out of postpartum depression there?
So I have, growing up, you try all sorts of just stuff, alcohol, pills, Xanax, whatever. All this stuff I had already tried at one point in my life, and just didn't make me feel good. There's this internal thing that you have going on about like just feeling good, your body feeling good and processing these things. I didn't have that bogged down, guilty feeling when I was using mushrooms. I felt connected to nature actually, and I was supposed to be taking this medicine. It was okay, yes. It was just a lot better for me to process. Um, and I figured since my body takes this so well, I'm meant to use this. And that's where I went with it. And that's the signs that I got from it. And my first cube I ever tried was probably Golden Teachers. And I actually tried it when I was 16. I think we all had those experiences when we were younger, and just taking a fuck ton of mushrooms and tripping out, just not using it for medical purposes, but just recreational and having fun. And I believe in that too. I'm not only for medical use, I'm down for recreational use as well. But yeah, I tried my first ones. They were Golden Teachers. I was 16. I think I took an eighth, maybe a little bit more. And I tripped out, and I had a good time. It wasn't anything that made me want to go back and do more mushrooms at that point in my life. And I didn't think about using it again. I use cannabis all the time. That's my number one plant medicine, I believe. So as I got older, you're not tripping anymore. You're not using mushrooms just to trip. You're like, oh, I hope these fix me. So once I got older and I got to microdose, it just changed my whole perspective on what this medicine is and what it really does and how it can help so many people. I've come across so many people on the spectrum of life that are just all about using natural remedies to alleviate some of their symptoms that they're having. So, yeah.
So PTSD is definitely one of the most common ailments these days. How do you suggest people go about treating PTSD with suicide?
So I think that there's like two different methods going on right now and like two different schools of thought. There's like this microdosing world, which I'm kind of, typecast in right now. And then there's also this like macro dosing where, you take excess of 5 grams or more. And sometimes those single experiences that are 5 grams or more can be just as effective. Like some people take a large trip and don't trip again for years, or that was enough to satisfy them, or they get some real introspective thoughts and talking to their ancestors through their trips and communicating and going to different dimensions within their mind. I think that there's two different ways and two different schools to go about it. So I think that microdosing, is cool too, which is, having a schedule, a weekly schedule, taking it 3 or 4 times a week, or doing intuitive dosing where you just dose whenever you feel like it, like whenever you're having an episode or you're going into a high anxiety situation.
That
Yeah.
surprises me a little bit. The anxiety situation. I've always kind of been thought setting was kind of important. So just to think, it taking it in a high anxiety moment just seems like a panic. I don't know. It seems like it would make more panic, but no.
Depends on the dosage. You want to keep it low dose. So a microdose is actually a sub-perceptual amount. So it's active on the cellular level, which means you're not supposed to get auditory stimulations or visual stimulations. That's once you start getting into that realm, that's not microdosing anymore. That's on your way to something more like a trip. Or something in between a trip, which can feel really awkward sometimes, like you said, and give you that extra anxiety that you don't want. So definitely start lower first because you're not really supposed to feel anything. You might feel like, a mood enhance, food tastes better, colors are richer, sounds are better, but there's not really like a trip. You're not seeing anything, not hearing anything. There's not tracers usually, things like that, or fractals.
So I think it sounds like it's safe to say to find that like a good microdose is to kind of, I guess Tim Blake the other night described it as just take it until you can almost feel the psychedelic phase and then back off. Is that kind of
Yeah,
what you're saying?
absolutely. Dosage is important. Start off with a tenth and then, go in small increments from there. My husband is like 240 pounds and takes a tenth, like little specks, and that works for him. And it's, you got to find your dose. Some people, it might be a little bit more. I mean, yeah, just depends on the person. And I think everybody's body chemistry is a little different. We all process and metabolize foods differently. And it depends on what we're eating that day. Like all that stuff makes, this triage effect where it's going to affect every person a little differently. It's important to try to find out what your dose is. Yeah. That's part of why I keep all my products in microdose form. So if you want to take more, cool, that's fine. And if you want to take less, that's fine too.
So how did you come about actually putting them into edible form? Most people just don't think of uh, mushrooms as, delights or eating them in a meal. We've all just kind of bared it and chewed them up and swallowed them
Isn't it
in their
disgusting?
untasty form.
Isn't it?
Yes, yes,
Isn't it
it
so
is.
gross? Yes, that's why. That's why. Actually, it started with teas. So I was microdosing so much, I just had to find another way to consume the medicine. Like I used to eat them on like little Oreos or like a cookie or like a pastry or something, and then discovered the tea thing. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna make teas because it's so much better and easier for me to consume it that way. Um, the chocolate bars, I kind of got asked to make chocolate bars. So it was by request. So I started making chocolate bars. Gummies was an idea that I had with a cannabis company here in Detroit. They're called Flight Club Extracts. They're awesome. Love those guys. It's a collaboration with them. Um, and they're making gummies too. And eventually, hopefully, they make all the gummies in the world. And that's how that got started. And the gummies are very delicious. They're super soft and fruity, and they're easy to ingest. And they're microdosed in like little pieces. So, yeah. It's basically about making it easier to ingest and accept the medicine. I mean, nobody wants to eat like mushrooms don't taste good. Not all the time. You get used to it, but it's like you don't, if you have a choice, why would you continue to put yourself through hell?
They're rough. So, is there any one way that is the best delivery method or may intensify? I know like I said, I was always just kind of chew them up, kick them back with a little bit of orange juice is usually the best way I've kind of found as far as.
I know. Been there.
But I recently had chocolates, and chocolates kind of came on hard and fast and seemed to like stay around an extra little bit. So is there something in chocolate, or what's the best in delivery method?
There is something about the delivery. So most chocolates, hopefully the person that made your chocolates made it with dark chocolate, right? Dark chocolate has serotonin and other chemicals in it that actually activate very well and coincide with the psilocybin mushrooms very well. They just marry each other. So it actually makes your trips a little bit more intense. You are correct. I don't know about longer. I feel like my chocolate trips are shorter, but they're harder and more intense. The onset is within usually about 30 minutes for me, I want to say. Gummy experience is very sudden. The gummies is the strongest and the fastest activating thing, I think. Even faster than the water and the tea, I think. And I don't know why. We're still trying to figure out why they're so, it's just super fast activating. And the visuals are super intense. Mind you, different cubes that we're using in the products are also helping these different effects. So each product is made with like a different cube. So it just depends on what cube we're using and how intense it's going to be. But the teas are slower.
I always enjoy the teas are slower. So how was the taste? I mean, we talked about, you know what I mean? So how do you beauty up a
The
mushroom
teas
and a
are
tea?
Yeah, the teas are fruity. I have a mint one and like a ginger one. They're just like normal. Um, it covers and masks the taste of the mushrooms very well. Um, you can always taste a little bit. You know what I mean? At the end of something, like you just taste a little bit, but it's like masked very well, and it's a much better delivery than just taking them straight up and orange juice and or lemon tech, something like that.
So sometimes they don't taste bad. I mean, I've had like say this, which is like a mushroom blend that you can add to
A
coffee and
tincture.
stuff like that. Yeah, have you ever thought of like a coffee? I've had a mushroom coffee too that was
I have had a
delicious.
mushroom coffee.
Uh,
Yes.
is is that a possible delivery method? I mean, that'd be the way for me to start my day with mushroom coffee.
I totally think that would be using maybe like a tincture. Yeah, why not? I have a friend that
So,
makes
oh, sorry, go ahead, please.
oh, I was saying I have a friend that makes a psilocybin based tincture, and that would be something you should try with her. Put in your coffee.
Right on. Is there some that are a little bit better than others for like tinctures or uh, different foods? Is that why you use different cakes for different uh, things? Just certain ones taste better with different things.
I don't know if it's, I wouldn't say it's based on taste. I would say it's based on effects. Yeah, definitely based on effects. So the mushrooms that won for microdose, I'm sorry, this fall when I did the Michigan Psilocybin Cup, my mushrooms were not the strongest, but they had the best effect for microdose. And the reason why is the psilocin count was just as high as the psilocybin count. So the psilocin count it kind of slows down the onset of the psilocybin. Um, so it's more paced out for a person who's trying to microdose. It's not just like taking a really strong cube. Like, have you ever tried like penis envy before yourself? You have. Yeah.
Oh
So you
yeah,
know
yeah.
that it's super intense, right?
Yeah.
Those are super intense. So like some of the mushrooms that I choose to use they're not as intense on purpose because you don't, I mean, when you're just trying to like go to ballet practice with your kid, you're not trying to fucking trip out on, a quarter of penis envy because, 0.25 of penis envy versus 0.25 of something else like a Burma or a golden teacher, it's completely different ballpark. That's when you start getting, those jitters and you're breaching on the range of a trip rather than a microdose. So the different cubes matter for this reason. Like it depends on what you're going for, and yeah, and what setting you're going for. And we have testing available now that's telling us this information. Oakland Hyphy, who's out in Oakland, California, he's throwing the psychedelic convergence in Colorado this Saturday. He is starting testing labs all over the country so people can take their medicine here and we can see exactly what compounds are in it and how much of each compound. And that's important for dosing. So, yeah.
So which is the strongest? Which one would you be like skull and crossbones? Be careful with
Yeah,
this one.
we've noticed, like, if you look at the test results, and this is actually how I came in 15th too, is all the penis envies and all the penis envies all tested very, very, very high for psilocybin count and psilocin. They're very strong. In the Michigan Cup, there were some that were coming in numbers double digits, which is insane. because this is like per 5 grams, and you guys probably have no idea what I'm talking about, but like these, it's just really, really, really high counts that are not seen in other cubes or other strains, whatever you guys want to call them. They're called cubes. Um, so you got to be knowledgeable somewhat. It's nice to be knowledgeable, and it's nice that we have this information that's coming out, and we can use the medicine better now. Now we can use it in the proper setting. Like if we want to have an intense trip, maybe we don't need to take as much because, we're taking penis envy this time, and this, penis envy 6, and it tests this high. So we only need to take 5 grams instead of 20 or whatever. Just, yeah.
So should people kind of know what strain they're taking? So if they do find, can one work? Well, just like cannabis, certain strains work better for certain people. I mean, is that true with mushrooms?
I think it's true. Like as you as you start to cultivate and learn different cubes, there's ones that you start to like more. I think it's important. Yeah, I think for the future of mycology and what we're doing here, I think that's going to be probably the next big thing is to know about what cube you're taking. Um, and it'll get even more broken down from there. It's the same thing with cannabis. It's just going to be very, very important to know what you're taking, I think, in the future. And why not? Why would you not want to know? So if you like it, you can go back to that cue. You know what I mean?
I agree. So I guess it sounds like a silly question. I don't know why it sounds like a silly question to me. But the size matter of this size of the cap itself, is that any uh factor of strength? Is it ev- better to take a bunch of like smaller mushrooms, or is it better to take a larger cap for strength, or is it all the same? Is it just pretty much equal no matter the size?
Um, I think I'm trying to understand your question a little bit. Are you saying it was potency based on size? Like the larger mushroom
Basically,
equals more?
yes. Yeah.
No, potency is not based on size. Like I've
Yeah.
grown mushrooms. If you've seen some of my grow pictures, I've grown mushrooms that have been like the size of my arm, low psilocybin count. And then I've grown penis envies that are like this big, high size psilocybin count. It just, no, that doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And it's cool to grow gigantic mushrooms. It's like one of my hobbies. It's like trying to get a mushroom head as big as I can. Like I've gotten some that have been like saucers. It's just like this big. And it's such a gratifying feeling to grow things that big and to see what you can do. But has no bearing on how hard you're gonna trip or how decent that mushroom is. Um, Smaller has been better for in most of my experiences.
So is there a difference between just a standard mushroom and truffle, would be stronger in that case?
Truffles are strong. Um, like Enigma and stuff. Yeah, those are strong. They're small, compact, high counts.
So I guess what would have you had a super size, or have you taken a hero dose yourself?
Yes, yes.
You want to share
Yeah.
your experience?
So I take a hero dose all the time. Every third Saturday. um, I have different experiences at all those times. I've had really nice trips where I've laughed for hours and, um, got messages, spoke to my grandfather in my trips, and I've had trips where I've cried for 4 hours straight. Um, I've had trips where I did yoga outside the entire time and didn't come inside my house until like midnight because I had to do it. It's just, I think everybody's experience is different. Um, and for me, when I'm going into these experiences, I'm trying to get information out as to how I could use it and integrate it into my normal everyday life and figure out, why am I being shown this? What is this for? How is this going to help me go to the next step in what I'm trying to do and educating people and advocating for the medicine? So I think that a trip is important for a lot of people. I think it's a good experience. I don't believe in bad trips. I believe in challenging trips. I believe in trips that make you question yourself and reality, but I don't think that there's necessarily a bad trip.
Right.
Mm.
I think that sometimes they do make you face things that you don't want to face, that you need to face sometimes. That's for sure. But
Absolutely.
ultimately, a healing experience in the end. So,
Absolutely.
would you describe like some of the things you take away from uh, these experiences? And myself, I always describe them to. It depends on who I'm talking to, if they can relate or not, as not so much as a vision or something like that I've experienced when I'm in a heavy state, but more of a download. It's just like information that's been received and then just kind of my mind unloads and plays out. Uh, would you say that's a pretty accurate description of the information or the things you kind of received during a heavy sesh, I guess?
Yep, we all get downloads. Um, Whether you're receiving them and acting upon them, it's up to you. I think that some downloads, which is also, it makes you face some traumatic things that have happened to you, people may not be ready for, and that could be why they're not, having a good time or a good trip. But the download is there. And I think it's up to us to kind of, like I said, integrate it into our waking selves, our waking consciousness, because it's coming out through your subconscious. So it's something that needs to be probably addressed, if that's the case. If it's coming out on a trip, to me, this is what I believe. If it's coming out on a trip, it's probably a message that I need to address and I need to look at again. It could be something super simple like, I'm allergic to oranges, for example. I love oranges. I just had one. I'm not supposed to eat them. I've gotten messages that are like, don't eat the orange juice. Don't drink the orange juice. How am I integrating that? How am I integrating this if they're telling me, hey, watch your orange juice intake because you'll break out into hives? And I'm like, shit, I love oranges. Like that's me ignoring a direct message. You know what I mean? Like I'm getting the message. I'm just not integrating it. Like that's almost to my own detriment because I'm not listening to um, these different levels of consciousness that are coming out and helping me, trying to help me. So yeah. I'm gonna give you about a couple more minutes and then I'm gonna take off here soon, okay? Is
Oh,
that
no
cool?
problem.
All right, awesome.
Yeah. Like I told you in the beginning, I appreciate the time and you get the message out there because I really believe that there is a lot of weight in microdose and the psychedelics. And like I said before, there are so many people not that suffer from PTSD and anxiety issues that I know personally. I would, if they don't want to hear it from me, I would rather present a bunch of people, a bunch of evidence, and be like, here, just watch it. If you don't want to listen to my word, then listen to others. So, I'm happy that you were able to come on, tell us a little bit about what you do and why you do it. And moreover, where can they find you if they're in the Michigan area and would like to try some of your chocolates and that? And again, you're speaking somewhere else soon. Please plug that as well.
Yep. So I will be at the Psychedelic Convergence in Colorado this weekend, speaking about cultivating, and pretty much similar to what I'm talking with you about today. My products. So I'm a member of the Native American Church. I'm a certified cultivator of traditional medicines. I am not open sales. I have a small patient portal that that we assist. Sometimes I go out and I'll be at shows and stuff. I will be at Spread the Spores in Grand Rapids. That's coming up on February 27th. But for the most part, it is just a small patient circle. And that's why that's why I'm always yeah, we can't really do that yet. This is considered a spiritual service. What we do with these sacred plants and medicines, I do respect these medicines as sacred plants and living beings, and I treat it with such. So I do not distribute this medicine in a way that I feel is disrespectful. So, but you can catch me out and about sometimes, and I'll post those things if that ever happens.
What about, I remember you saying you also teach cultivation. What if they would like to get a hold of you and learn how to cultivate their own? Is that a possibility? Can they reach out through Instagram and maybe pick your brain
Yes.
for cultivation information?
You can hit me up on Instagram. I'll add you to the email list and give you details about that. It's Mrs._Vicious_. You have to have both underscores. Sorry, I got deleted a couple times. So this is like 2.0. Mrs. Vicious 2.0. So yeah, you can find me on there.
Don't give up. Instagram can be a bear. Always have a backup. Start working on that backup right now so they can find it.
Honestly, I've been deleted, and I've been deleted a couple times. And I'm like, fuck it. I don't even care at this point if I get deleted. I got this like base that I built off of Instagram now. So it's like I'm not as codependent on it anymore. Oh, thank God. Yeah.
Well, good luck at your speaking event this weekend. Thank you for your time. Hopefully, at some point, we can cross paths and I can try some of those delicious chocolates or teas. But other than that, again, thank you for your time. Oh, I forgot.
Thanks
Mrs.
for having me
Vicious.
on.
One last one. Cup, 2 minutes, please. I guess you're no different than anybody else just because this is a psilocybin episode and not cannabis. You are still nonetheless a guest
Oh
of
yeah,
the
I
show.
support the
So
yeah.
basically this is how this works around here. I kind of gave you a quick rundown. So the show starts off every night at 11:30. It goes till 4:20. If the show ends early, then I will pick up and take over with what I call the Weed Nerd World. And the Weed Nerd World is only open to past guests, and now you are a past guest. So this Zoom link is good for Weed Nerd World. Monday nights is always a Weed Nerd World. Any other night, our Wednesdays, our early West Coast takeover. Weed Nerd World starts at 11:30 on Wednesdays. So either one of those nights you can bank on. You can come hang out. A lot of nights we do talk mushrooms. There's been many a nights, I would say about 80% of the nights I am microdosing or heavier on most of these episodes. And there's been, me and Endo 11 have done a couple of full psilocybin episodes where we went in pretty strong. Me and Tanassi's Gardens has done a couple episodes. But if you happen to tune in and we're talking cannabis or psilocybin and you'd like to join in and have fun or just school us on what the hell we're talking about, the Zoom link is always open. You don't need an invitation. You just need to
Okay.
want to come hang out. So feel free to use that. The other thing I'd like to get from you before you go is basically a soundbite or what will be a commercial for this episode. In my version, basically what I'm looking for is, hey, hello, this is Eagle. I'm on fucking Talking Shit with Eagle, episode 560. You can put whatever you want before or after that, as long as it kind of has that in it. I would greatly appreciate it.
So, hey, this is Mrs. Vicious. I'm fucking talking shit with the Eagle on episode
560.
560.
I'll take that. I'll take that. The fun smile and the laugh makes you want to watch. So I will most definitely
Awesome.
take that. Thank you again for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for
and
having me.
Good luck in your journeys.
Thank you. Have
Those
a
of
good night.
you too. For the rest of you guys, hopefully you'll follow me into the weed nerd world here in a little bit. But for the rest of you who don't, thank you for your time. Please do something nice for somebody. Random acts of kindness do save lives. I'm a living, breathing example of that.